few days ago, I made a video about how fairy tales brainwash girls from a young age, and that traps a lot of women at a young age into marriage because they believe in the fairy tale and the happily ever after, and we're so conditioned to expect the love story and the Prince Charming that we kind of latch on to the first man who shows us glimmers of those things, and then a lot of us end up in bad relationships and divorced by the time we're 30, like me. And of course it was a man. It's always a man. There was a man in my comments basically telling me I was wrong about fairy tales brainwashing girls and women into this kind of pattern because girls and women like romance books, and he was saying that romance books are the same thing as fairy tales. Fairy tales and romance books are not the same thing. And I was speaking specifically to Disney fairy tales, so let's think about the history of Disney fairy tales, okay? Disney was founded by Walt Disney, a man. A lot of Disney fairy tales are adapted from the Grimm brothers' fairy tales. So this is a company founded by a man, fairy tales adapted from stories written by men. And these fairy tales give women no agency. Cinderella needs the help of the fairy godmother, and she needs Prince Charming to come find her and discover that the shoe fits her foot in order for her to break free of the abusive situation she's in with her stepmother and her stepsisters. Sleeping Beauty needs a man to wake her from her eternal sleep by kissing her, true love's kiss. Rapunzel needs a man to come help her break out of her tower. She can let down her long hair. He can climb up there and help her get out. Ariel in The Little Mermaid. This is probably the most egregious fairy tale in my opinion. The Little Mermaid teaches girls that it was okay for Ariel to give up her voice in order to have love. She had to give up her voice, her agency, in order to have the man. Now, there are some really bad romance books, sure. However, a lot of romance books obviously are written by women. And again, there are very bad romance books written by women. But for the most part, they are centering women in a way that fairy tales do not. They give women agency, they center women's pleasure, they model what healthy relationships are. A lot of the time, the plot is centered around some kind of conflict or like journey that a woman is trying to overcome, and along the way, she finds a healthy partner who either helps her overcome whatever that challenge is or supports her alongside her while she does that on her own or with the help of other women. Romance books are not the same as fairy tales. And in fact, I would go as far as to say that after COVID happened and I got back into my reading journey and I really started enjoying romance books again, a lot of romance books I was reading were pointing out things to me that weren't happening in my relationship, that I yearned for in my relationship, that I wasn't going to get in my relationship, that my ex-husband was not capable of giving me, even when I tried to look for things that were maybe feasible to try to coach him to implement into our relationship. It wasn't happening. So fairy tales trap women and girls in relationships, but romance books teach women and girls what they should want and what they should hold out for and what they should value out of a partner in a relationship. Fairy tales and romance books are not the same.